To think back to a time where you were so busy with work that you couldn't even think about how stressed you were. If you're in school, you can probably pinpoint a couple of times each year you felt like this. When you go to school and you have test after test, and you go home and still have homework and projects to do. The Mental Health Foundation describes stress as, quote, the degree to which you feel unable to cope with pressures that are unmanageable. It is no secret that stress can be bad for your health, let alone your mental health. When you're stressed, you're in a natural state of fight or flight. When in fight or flight, you're in a constant state of being able to react to a dangerous situation. For example, if you have a fear of public speaking, you might speak quickly in order to finish your presentation quicker and be able to escape. Although stress can be useful, this is only when it's in small amounts and not often. However, when you're in a constant state of stress or you're in extreme states of stress often, your stress begins to wear you down. The General Adaptation Syndrome, also known as GAS, describes the way you react after being introduced to a new stressor. At first, your body's resistance to stress lowers. You feel extreme stress in a short amount of time. However, as time goes by, you're able to adapt to the stress and use the stress to benefit you. And that is called the resilience stage. The last stage is the exhaustion stage. If you still have this stressor in your life and you enter the exhaustion stage, you're tired, you can't focus as much, and your work doesn't end up as amazing as it could have. As a junior in high school, I can tell you that majority of my stress comes from school or is due to a school-related reason, meaning that school has a direct impact on my mental health. And I'm not the only person who thinks this. In the UK, there are 850,000 students with a mental health disorder. And these students say that a lot of their stress comes from their school exams. Although school seems to be the main contributor to students' mental health issues, it could also be a main way to fight against this epidemic. Schools can do things such as letting their students take days off for a mental health day, allowing students to do things they enjoy, such as sleeping in, reading a book, or baking, might benefit the student in the long run. They're less likely to get burnt out or enter the exhaustion stage in the general adaptation syndrome. Students would be able to perform better in school and would be able to do better things. Another way schools can prevent students' mental health from worsening is by allowing students to speak to people. Some schools already have counselors, which have been proven to be beneficial, but some students might not feel comfortable talking to these counselors as they might not feel comfortable asking for help, or there might not be any confidentiality agreement in place. Schools can counteract this by having people that are not linked to the school speak to students during school hours. Or schools could have the counselor put in place a confidentiality agreement, allowing the student to speak about their issues in a private manner, knowing that no one else will know, which might make the student feel more comfortable. Schools have a direct impact on their students' mental health, but they are also one of the main ways we can fight against it. So if schools don't begin to step up and recognize the impacts they do have on our mental health, they're going to jeopardize our long-term, not only our long-term mental health, but our long-term health as a whole. Students matter, and so does their mental health, so schools should start caring about it.